Hey, so as you can see by the title of the video, these are some tips for dating a trans person. Just a quick disclaimer, I'm not in a relationship and I haven't been since before I came out as trans over a year ago. So if you want any specific answers on how I deal with particular things within a relationship, I don't. But I figured I could still give some general advice on things to keep in mind if you're dating a trans person. And a lot of these are pretty much applicable to dating in general. So whether you're in a relationship as two trans people, two cis people, or a trans person and a cis person, or even if you're in a polyamorous relationship with like 10 people. Some of these can be applied to just make any relationship a more happy and open one. Alright, so first thing is to be open when it comes to communication, so that you can talk about things openly and not bottle them up or push them to one side, because that's never a good thing in any situation, let alone a relationship. And two, so if there's ever an uncomfortable or touchy subject, you both feel comfortable and know that it's open for discussion. Also, if you are dating a trans person and you knew them before they came out, so you use the birth name and the previous pronouns, just know that it's not the end of the world if you slip up here and there. I think it would be ignorant of any trans person not to be understanding of the fact that it takes some getting used to. Calling someone by a certain name or pronouns becomes a habit, almost like second nature. Most of the time when you're talking to somebody, you don't even think about it because you're that used to it. But do just keep in mind that it will most likely be very important to your partner to be referred to in their preferred manner. So when you're talking to or about them, try to keep it at the front of your mind and just make a conscious effort, especially when you're out in public with people who didn't know them previously. Also, if you do slip up, just correct yourself and move on. So like, for example, if we were out and you said, I was out with birth name Jaden, a lot of people tend to make a big deal out of it by dwelling on it or apologising constantly. And all that does is just add to the uncomfortability of everyone. A good thing to do if this does keep happening and you think it might be affecting them is just to be honest with them. You know, just talk to them one-to-one and let them know that you are trying your best and it's just taking you a little bit of time to get used to. I'm sure they'd appreciate that a lot more if you just ignored it altogether and never talked about it. Also, for example, if you're a cis woman and you were with a trans man before they came out and you identify as a lesbian, but you stay with them because you love them and you feel that it doesn't matter, don't ever think that it's not okay for you to need some time to adjust to things. Especially when it comes to medical transition, like for example if they're on hormones, there are some physical changes that come along with that. And it's okay and normal to feel like you might be a bit apprehensive or unsure if you can handle those things. For some people, sex and sexuality are strongly based on emotional connections. And for some people, it's more based on sexual or physical attraction, and it's okay if you identify with the latter. And just because someone is trans doesn't mean that you have to stay with them when something in the relationship that was important to you changed. I'm sure that they'd much rather you speak up and break it off while things are in a happy state and you'll be able to stay good friends, rather than staying with them, becoming unhappy, probably start resenting them, and then it end with arguments and hostility. When it comes to anything sex related, especially for the first time, it's always good to talk about your limits. And this is for both trans people and cis people. For a lot of trans people, they're uncomfortable with certain parts of the body. And it's always good to talk about what they'd be open to doing, what they wouldn't, and what could be open for discussion or worked on. And again, the exact same for cis people. Just because they identify as the gender they are assigned at birth doesn't mean they don't have their own body image issues or don't have things that they're uncomfortable with sexually. In any relationship, it's a good idea to talk about things and make sure that each of you is comfortable and happy with everything. Always try to be supportive of your partner with things they're pursuing. It could be medical transition or it could be a new career. And also with their emotions and their worries. So as I mentioned before, a lot of trans people experience dysphoria, and all trans people experience it differently. So if you know another trans person, the way that they feel about themselves won't necessarily be the same as another trans person. For some people, a good way to help with dysphoria is to refer to certain things in a certain way. For example, maybe if someone hasn't had bottom surgery and has dysphoria about it, not referring to their genitals in the proper way, so penis or vagina. The best way to do this is to ask what they call things so you don't make them uncomfortable. Like, I call my chest area my chest and not my boobs or my breast because that makes me uncomfortable. Also, referring to them as your girlfriend, boyfriend or partner appropriately depending on how they identify. So if you're with a trans woman, they're your girlfriend, not your boyfriend. And if you're with a trans man, they're your boyfriend, not your girlfriend. This is basically the same as calling them the wrong pronouns. Misgendering them is going to make them feel like shit. And when you're in a relationship with somebody, it's never cool to make them feel like shit, or for them to make you feel like shit. Mutual respect is always needed. Alright, so that's all the tips that I could think to include in this video. If you have any tips of your own, please share them and comment down below. If you like the video or you find it useful, please give it a thumbs up. You can also subscribe down below to see more from me. So thanks for watching, come along my journey, and hopefully I'll see you in this video. Bye.